Okay, good morning, everyone, and Hazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning. Monday morning, everyone. New week. That means new Perasha. Okay, here we go. Today's class is sponsored anonymously for the Refuah Shlema of all Am Yisrael. Amen. My friends, Perasha this week is called Perashat Re'eh. Moshe Rabbeinu begins the Perasha with the word Re'eh. Look, Re'eh. Re'eh Anochi noten lefnechem hayom beracha uklala. Moshe Rabbeinu says, see, I have placed in front of you blessing and curse. Blessing, choose the commandments, follow the Torah. Curse, by not following the Torah. Okay, and we see people that they live their lives, unfortunately, without Torah, and it is a cursed life. It's an empty life. It's a pointless life. It's a life without direction, without meaning. This is a kilala. It's not a way to live. Yeah, some people, they have everything. They have money, and they have fame, and they have honor, and they have all the riches. But they don't have Torah. There's no guide. There's no light. There's nothing that I'm looking forward to. I'm living for myself. That is a very empty existence. That's a kilala existence. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu urges us to choose life, because we have to realize that blessing and curse, whether we're happy or not, whether we're blessed or not, whether we are going to be fulfilled or not, that's our choice. It's our choice. We have to choose. We cannot think, and there are people, unfortunately, that think like this. I was speaking to a guy on Shabbat. He believed, unfortunately, he had this mentality that, we're pre-programmed to do what we're going to do. I'm already, from 5,000 years ago, God already knew what my life is going to look like. He pre-programmed, He predestined. That is not a Jewish idea. We believe in free will. It's, of course, very important that we believe in free will, because if there's no free will, then how could God command us, don't sin, don't do the wrong thing? It's not in my choice. I don't have free will to do it. I was pre-programmed to break Shabbat. I was pre-programmed to worship idols. I was pre-programmed to kill. So what's the point of the commandments? What will God tell me? Don't kill. If anyways I'm going to kill, it's not up to me, right? So it's very important that we accept this tenet of free choice. Well, of course, we're doing this year Rabbeinu Bachye, and I want to share with you what Rabbeinu Bachye has to say. And he begins, of course, everyone knows, he begins the Perashah with a pasuk from Mishle. So let's study together, my friends, a verse from the book of Proverbs, Mishle, written by King Solomon, right, thousands of years ago. He begins with Mishle chapter 20, today's pasuk. What a beautiful pasuk. Look at this. Mehoref, everyone with me? Okay. Chapter 20. Chapter 20, pasuk 4. Okay. Mehoref atzel lo yaharosh. Okay, let's explain what that means. In the winter, the atzel, the lazy person, lo yaharosh, he doesn't plow. Yes, I'm not sure if anyone here is a farmer. Raise your hand if you are. But if you are a farmer, then I guess you have to plow your field, and you would know that. You got to plow your field in the winter to prepare it for planting. In the winter, though, the lazy guy does not plow. Vesha'al bakatzir, and therefore when it comes time to harvest, he will seek ve'ayin, but finds nothing. Very beautiful pasuk. One more time. Mehoref atzel lo yaharosh. From the winter, the lazy person fails to plow. Yeah, the lazy guy doesn't plow in the winter. And therefore, v'sha'al bakatzir ve'ayin, when he looks in the harvest season, ayin, he'll find nothing. And let us read how Rabbeinu Bachye explains. And the truth is, that's going to be today's class on laziness. Okay? So if you're lazy, or if you struggle with laziness, and every one of us a little bit, right, has laziness. Rav Moshe Chaim Lotzato, he dedicates, you should know, he speaks about trait after trait after trait. The first trait he talks about is zehirut, being careful not to do the wrong thing. But the second trait, right after that, after we've stayed away from the bad, he speaks about zerizut. Okay? He jumps into to be zariz. What does zariz mean? Alacrity. To go into something with excitement, enthusiastic, quickly. Don't delay, don't stall, don't procrastinate. So if you are a procrastinator, this pasuk is for you. Okay? Here we go. And we all struggle, I think, with procrastination, one extent or another. And let us see today, let's study the beautiful introduction of Rabbeinu Bahye that he has on this parasha. And he says as follows, Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, Alav HaShalom, may he rest in peace. Darash Besefer Mishle. He always, you should know, King Solomon, in his book of Mishle, Proverbs, he had 3 books. One of them was Proverbs. In his book of Mishle, he Levaer Klal Kol Hamidot Adovot. He explains the good traits. Kadesh Yitrahek Ha'adam Min Hamidot Hamigunot. So that a person stays away from the bad ones. Yeah? That's what he does in this book of Mishle, of Proverbs. He tries to encourage us to cling to the good traits, to stay away from the bad traits. Ve'yitkarev ela hamudot u'bechalam midat zerizut. And part of the good ones and the bad ones is the midah, like I just said, of zerizut ve'ha'atzla versus laziness. Are you a zariz person or are you an atzel person? Ask yourself, which one are you? Be honest. Don't answer this to anyone out loud. Between you and you, are you zariz? Are you quick? Are you, or maybe a little bit atzel? Are we struggling maybe with procrastination? Lefisha midat ha'atzla, because the trait of laziness, he shoresh, is the root of nezakim harbe, many problems in life. Vesiba lekama michsholot, and it's the reason of many of our falls. Much of, look at this, Rabbeinu Bachya is saying, much of the failures of life, they boil down to laziness. And if a person could conquer his lazy nature, then you'll be well on your way off to success. Yesh atzel bebeto, and there are different types of lazy people. One guy could be lazy when it comes to his house. I think he's referring here to his financials. Yesh atzel begufo. You have another guy who's maybe very good when it comes to his financial, but he's a little bit lazy with his body. Yesh atzel benafsho. Some people are lazy with their soul. Yesh atzel batorah u'mitzvot u'ma'asim tovim. And some people are lazy when it comes to Torah. So Ramchal over here is dividing life into 4 categories. Yeah? Bayit, guf, nefesh, Torah. House, body, soul, religion. And let us explain one by one. It's amazing. Really, I have to do nothing today, my friends, in today's class. It's all Ramchal. He's literally, Rabbeinu Bachya. He's literally just pouring it out for us on the table in such a beautiful, simple, just bulleted manner, one by one by one. Boom, boom, boom. Yesh atzel bebeto. Some people are lazy at home. What does that mean? You have a guy, he has to fix his ceiling. There's a little leak going on. Today's raining, nice rainstorm. Yeah? And it's raining. What happens? He's got to fix the little thing. If he fixes it right away, then he'll be able to get away with fixing it by spending just a couple of dollars. But if a person will be lazy, and he'll procrastinate, and he'll delay fixing the leak, then what ends up happening? What ends up happening? You end up wasting more money later on. What a fool, says Rabbeinu Bachya. You see a problem? Take care of the problem now. I want to tell you guys a secret. What Rabbeinu Bachya is telling us is that the best day of your life to take care of an issue is today. If there's an issue, take care of it today. Because if you don't take care of it today, tomorrow it won't be less of an issue. It'll be a bigger issue. If a person is not doing okay in their Shalom Bayit, they got to take care of it today. Tomorrow, my Shalom Bayit will be worse or better. So if I'm not taking care of it and it's not getting better, tomorrow will only be worse. Tomorrow will only be harder. In life, that's the rule. Things that need to be addressed, the best day to address them is today. Today is the best day. If we don't take care of it today, tomorrow will not be any easier. If I'm trying to quit a bad habit, today's the best day to quit, not tomorrow. The best day, the easiest day of your life to do anything will be today, I promise you. As hard as it is today, you need to know, says Rabbeinu Bachya, that tomorrow will be much harder. It'll be much harder to quit or to start because we've already ingrained in us one more day of laziness, one more day of procrastination, one more day of eating. We've already instilled into ourselves. We're one day deeper into our addiction. And it'll be that much harder tomorrow. And says Rabbi Bachya, we're much better off starting today. Whatever it is we want to accomplish, today is the day. And if we don't take care of it today, tomorrow will be harder. Tomorrow will be more expensive. If I don't take care of my marriage now, tomorrow it's going to be much more expensive having to go to therapy. If I don't fix my relationship with my kids today, tomorrow ain't going to be any better. Right? There's a mentality that, oh, time is only good if I'm doing something. So then, yes, the component of time can add. But if I'm just going to rely only on time is a very dangerous thing. Time by itself will do nothing if I don't also do my part. That's something that we have to realize. So laziness will only make, only harder, only deeper. If I have a small thing in the ceiling, I call a roof guy. He comes, $100, 1,000, whatever it is. But if you don't take care of it today, that little thing, if you wait a month, wait a year, that's going to be a whole thing, a whole project, the whole wall, everything's going to be ruined. It's going to cost you not 1,000, it's going to cost you 10,000. That's atzel bebeto. Got to fix it right away. And sometimes people are, right, penny wise, but dollar foolish. You ever heard of that expression? It's an amazing idea, to be penny wise, but dollar foolish. It means sometimes we're cheap. We're trying to save pennies. We end up losing dollars. Because these are the things that we gotta think about. We try to be cheap, right? I'll give you an example. Can I give you an example? Okay, imagine a guy on a date. Guy goes out with a girl, and he decides to go cheap. And sometimes there's guys like this. They're cheap. They take the girl out, and your job as a gentleman on a date is to impress. You gotta impress. You're not gonna take her out for $1 billion, but you gotta impress. You gotta step up, just like the girl has to impress. The girls also put a lot of money into a date. They get dressed, they do their hair, right? They put makeup, right? It's not cheap to go on a date. But some people, they cheapen out. What happens? The guy, he wants to get away cheap. What ends up happening? He takes out a girl cheap, and then she sees he's cheap, so she doesn't want to marry a cheap guy. Again, it has nothing to do with how much money you have. You don't have to be rich. Yeah, you don't have to be rich, but you have to impress. You have to impress. So the guy decides, you know what? I'm gonna date all these girls. I'm gonna put all this money on dates. Let me go cheap. Let me go, instead of taking them somewhere, respectable, I'll take them somewhere cheap. I'll take them out to bagels. I'll take them out just for a drink. Well, you know what ends up happening? You're penny wise, but you're dollar foolish, because the guy ends up being single for 10 years, 15 years. He spends more money on 15 years of dates cheap than just dating properly. And in a way, sometimes if you date properly, you get a girl faster. You end up saving money. Yeah? So sometimes cheap is not the answer. Okay? I hope that didn't hurt anyone, but I think there's a lot of truth that sometimes in life a person needs to realize and understand that this is what Rabbi Bachya is saying, that if you're going to just go cheap and you're going to wait and stall and procrastinate, later is more expensive. The best day of your life to ever start anything, my friends, is today. Never forget that rule. That's atzel bebeto. Okay? So think about, what is it that you're struggling with? Where do we need to fix? Our house, what do we need to fix? Okay? Don't delay. Don't procrastinate. You want to jog, you want to start running? Today's the easiest day to start jogging, not tomorrow. Because tomorrow you're one day deeper muscle memory into not running. You've only dug yourself one more day deep into not running. One more day deep into smoking. One more day deep into being a mean person, or being a stubborn person, or being an arrogant person, or being a lazy person. Whatever it is that you're struggling with, tomorrow you'll be one day deeper. And it'll be much harder tomorrow than it is today. That's a very, 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 very important Rabbeinu Bachya. Okay? We could literally stop here and we would have enough to think about for the rest of the week. That's what Rabbeinu Bachya is saying. Okay? Let's move on. That's number one. Atzel bebeto. Everyone with me? Did I lose anyone? Did I get a thumbs up? Okay. Beautiful. Next. Ve'al zeh amar Shlomo, and this is what King Solomon writes as well in his other book, Kohelet. We said he wrote 3 books. He wrote Mishle, Kohelet, and what was the third? Anyone know? Shir Hashirim. Okay? So his third book, his second book, Kohelet, right? He writes, Ba'atzaltayim yimacham kareh. With laziness, the wall starts to crumble. Because if we're lazy, if we delay, if we procrastinate, small problems become big problems. Okay? By Jonathan Sachs, I mean, he calls it a joke. It's a very sophisticated joke. Okay, it's a Rabbi Jonathan Sachs joke. Okay, but can I share with you the joke? Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, again, it's a sophisticated joke, but it is a joke that he starts off one of his chapters in his book Morality. He starts off with this joke. He says that there was a fellow on a train, and he asked the gentleman next to him, this older guy. He says, "Sir, do you have the time?" And the guy ignores him. And he asks him again, "Sir, do you have the time?" And the guy ignores him. And he asks him the third time, "Sir, do you have the time?" And finally, the guy, the old man, he looks at the kid and he says to the kid, "The time is such and such." And the kid says, "Okay, well, thank you, but why didn't you answer me in the beginning? I asked you 3 times for the time and you ignored me." And the old man says, "Listen, right now we're strangers. But if I give you the time, then we start to develop a relationship. If I give you the time, then we start knowing each other. And this is the last stop coming up. After this stop, we're all getting off. And if we're all getting off, it's only polite that I invite you to come over. And if I bring you over my house, I have a single daughter. She's single and you're a good-looking young man. And you may like each other. And you may get married. Now tell me, young man, why in the world would I want a son-in-law who can't own a watch?" Right? So that's why I didn't answer you. Because if I answer you, then you may become my son-in-law. And I don't want a son-in-law who can't afford a watch. In other words, small problems can become big problems. Okay? That is a Rabbi Jonathan Sachs sophisticated joke, and that is exactly what Rabbeinu Bachya is saying right here. Okay? Number two. Yesh atzel begufo. Some people, when it comes to financials, they're not cheap. They know how to spend. And by the way, again, I know people that don't have a lot of money and they spend, and I know people that are rich and they don't spend. Cheap has nothing to do with how rich you are. It's a mentality. So people have a lot of money and they don't spend a dime of it. Not on themselves, not on their kids, nothing. They just hold on to money. Cheap is a mentality. It has nothing to do with finances. It has nothing to do with how much you own. Okay? That's the first one. Be mamono, babeto. Next, begufo, with a person's body. If a person takes care of his body, yismach bechelko, then he'll be content. V'yispik lo habenoni v'lo yivakesh hamutarot, az yuchal lehasigam. A person who pursues his body needs, health, food, all these things, then he'll get them. But if a person's lazy, but doesn't worry about his body, doesn't take care of his health, doesn't exercise, doesn't eat healthy, eats junk and drugs and all this stuff, and the guy's going to say, "You know what? I'm going to rely on Hashem, because anyways, God already decreed how much I'm going to live for." Yamut bera'av, you need to know that this guy is going to die in hunger, because you can't be lazy and then rely on Hashem. And that's what King Solomon writes in Mishle, mit'aveh ve'en nefesh atzel. Okay? That's number 2. Yesh atzel benafsho. You have a guy who's lazy in his nefesh, in his soul. What does it mean in his soul? Kilomar, meaning, sheyit atzel betikun midoteha. The soul means character. Yes? You take care of your body, you take care of your finances. Are you taking care of your soul? Are we addressing the needs of our soul? That means, are we addressing the needs of our character, our midot? Yeah, are we fixing our traits? Think about it. A person's character is like earth. What does that mean? It's like earth. Yesh adama tova. Some earth is very good type of earth. Nochal le'aved, easy to work, good for planting. Yesh shavodata kasha, and some earth is very hard. You got to really work it hard. Afapiken en ha'oved tzarich la'aniha le'hafsid v'sheitrapeh ba. And either way, doesn't matter if it's soft earth or hard earth. At the end of the day, when a farmer has earth, no matter how good or bad it is, he works it. He's got to work it. He's got to work it to prepare that earth. And therefore, midot, some people struggle in one midah. Some people struggle in a different one. You may find that you're very impatient. And your brother or your cousin or your or your friend or your wife is, or husband is so patient. People could throw paint on them and get the house dirty and they don't care, right? Laissez-faire. Yeah, very easygoing. Some people they struggle with patience and others don't. Some people struggle with arrogance and others don't. Some people, right? Everyone has adama, trait, earth, that's soft and earth that's hard. But at the end of the day, the farmer knows he's got to work and prepare all the earth that he has so that he could plant in all of it. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful parable. And if a person is going to be lazy, says Shlomo HaMelech, laziness you need to know. Ach hu leba'al mashchit. He's the brother of a destroyer. Let me explain what that means. A person may say, Rabbi, I'll stay away from doing the bad things of life. I won't hurt anyone. I won't bother anyone. I won't kill anyone. I won't steal. I'll conquer the trait of Zehirut, the first trait of Ramchal in Mesilat Yesharim. I'll conquer Zehirut. I'll conquer staying away from bad. I won't do anything bad. But Ramchal says it's not enough in life to just not do bad. To not do bad is half. But you need to also do good. You need to also accomplish. It's not enough if I have money. If I have money right now that my father gave me, person could have, parent passed away, and he inherited $1 million. And the guy says, you know what? I'm going to make sure not to lose any of the million. So what happens? The $1 million, you think that you're not doing any harm by just keeping it somewhere tucked away in a safe. But you need to realize that million in 10 years is only worth 500,000. $1 million with inflation is not worth as much in 10 years. So if you're not working your money, if you're not building, in a way, ach hu leba'al mashchit, you are very close to destroying. You're not actually burning the money, but sometimes staying stagnant, sometimes being passive, sometimes doing nothing, sometimes just letting it just stay. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not destroying anything, but it's very close to destroying because life is going to take it away. You know, Shlomo HaMelech compares a lazy guy to a field. We've seen already a couple of examples of that. But what happens if a guy has a field? What happens if you have a field that a farmer doesn't work? Does the field just remain unworked? No. That field ends up growing weeds. It ends up growing thorns. It ends up growing negative things. So being passive and just not doing the good is not just staying passive. In a way, by staying passive, you're actually also destroying. We know this, by the way. I'll give you an example that our rabbis give us. The temple was destroyed. By who? Who destroyed the temple? Right? Well, I mean, technically, right? Bavel, Iraq, Rome. But really, we destroyed it. We destroyed the temple. We say it in the prayer every single day. We were exiled because of our sins. We believe, as Jews, deep, deep, deep down, that we are the only ones that are capable and responsible for our own falls, for our own failures, for our own shortcomings. We don't blame, we don't point. Yeah? Other nations of the world don't do this. The other nations of the world, they lost World War I, and they said, who can we blame for our loss of World War I? And then they started, and that's how World War II happened. We don't blame other people. We know as Jews, we know deep down, we fell because of ourselves. So who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash? Our great-grandparents 2,000 years ago. They destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. And let me tell you something, guys. Every year on Tisha B'Av, a guy will ask me the following question. Rabbi, why do I have to fast if my great-great-grandfather messed up 2,000 years ago? He messed up. He destroyed the temple. He spoke gossip. He hated our great-great-grandparents, our ancestors. Why are we paying for our ancestors' sins? You know what the answer is? We're not paying for their sins. We are paying for our sins because we are, in a way, responsible. We are responsible. Not our Gilgul, not our reincarnation. Us today. Our fault. If the Beit HaMikdash is not here today, that means we didn't build it. So we're not paying for their sins. We're paying for our sins, for our failures. Kol dor, every generation that the Beit HaMikdash wasn't rebuilt, it's as if you destroyed it. And our rabbis over here are telling us in a way that basically if a person fails to be proactive, if a person doesn't build, it's ach hu, he's a brother, he's equal, he's very close to a mashchit, to a destroyer. He's very similar. It's not just, I didn't do anything wrong. In life, we can't just not do bad. We have to also do good. We have to also do good. And by staying away and by just being passive, if you're neutral, sometimes there's no such thing in life as neutral. Yeah? If a person says, you know what, I'm going to stay neutral. I'm not going to get married. I'm just going to stay neutral. That's not called neutral. You're making a choice. By you staying married, by you staying single, you are actively choosing that. You're not doing nothing. You're not being passive. You're not just sitting back. If there's a terrorist, God forbid, and you just want to say, I'm going to stay neutral. That's not called neutral. Sometimes by choosing no, you're right? By not choosing yes, you're actually choosing no. By seeing something going on that's negative and by choosing not to address it, you're actually choosing not to address it. You're not just staying passive. You're not just staying, indifferent. Sometimes just staying on the side is actually making a statement in itself. It's actually choosing. Okay? So this is what exactly Rabbeinu Bachya is saying. Because a person who's lazy, ach hu leba'al mashchit. He is the brother. He is the brother. Obviously, it's not the same exact thing, but he is the brother of someone who destroys. Very, very, very close. Very, very, very close. If I choose not to address my health issue, if I have a health issue and I choose not to address it, I'm just not addressing it. That's very silly because that small problem is going to become a very big problem. And by not addressing it, you're also hurting yourself. And you're choosing, by being lazy, you're not just being lazy and passive. Weeds will grow, thorns will grow, bad things will happen. And therefore, benefashot, when it comes to character, yesh nefesh tova, some people have a certain nature, tekabel hamusar. They accept criticism and rebuke, b'ma'at tochachat, with very little, little criticism. Some people, you tell them a little word, they go to a class, the tiniest word of inspiration, and the person's crying, and the person's upping their game, and the person's improving, and the person's, doing teshuvah, and they decide, you know what, I'm going to start, changing, and this and that, right? Some people, they have that nature. They're very, very, open to growth, to change. Veyesh nefesh kasha. Some people are very stubborn. Lanhiga, to try to convince them, right? But if this person will work on his character, just like the guy works on his field, even though it's a very stubborn field, even though it's very hard earth, and safek, no doubt, you will be able to prepare this land slowly, slowly. So no matter how a person's nature is, doesn't matter what we're struggling with, no matter how stubborn, no matter how lazy, no matter how selfish, no matter how arrogant, slowly, slowly. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your spouse. Don't give up on your children. Don't give up on the people around you. Growth doesn't happen overnight. But if we keep working and keep plowing, okay? And ultimately, he's talking one working on themselves. Very hard to change the people around us. But on ourselves, slowly, slowly. Whatever your dream is, whatever you're trying to accomplish, just because it's tough earth, just because it's, right? I don't know, I'm thick, Rabbi. I can't read quickly. I'm not that type of guy. Slowly, slowly, get there. Al Sadeh Ish Atzel Avarti. Shlomo HaMelech says, I passed by the field of a lazy person. He compares again laziness to a field. And what happened? What happens? Lo yanhigena karaui, because he didn't take care of his field. He was growing thorns, right? We quoted this pasuk earlier. That's the third type of laziness, okay? Let us move on to number 4. Yesh atzel batorah ubamitzvot. Then you have a guy who's lazy when it comes to Torah, mitzvot. Yeah, that's religion. So there's money, there's body, there's character, and there's religion. So some people are lazy when it comes to religion. And again, you may not be lazy when it comes to your body. You may be when it comes to working out or for your money when it comes to making money, or even when it comes to, some people are very, very quick to work on their character, right? And then when it comes to Torah, they're lazy, right? You're not necessarily lazy in all the fields. It could be one or the other. But what happens is, אם הוא מתעצל בחוכמה התורה ואינו טורח במצוות ומעשים טובים בעולם הזה, ומה יזכה נפשו לעולם הבא? The person is going to be lazy in their religion, and what will be in the next world? What will be in the next world? What are we going to come to? If we didn't prepare for the next world, we have to realize that he's going to say this, that the way to prepare for Olam Haba is through Olam Hazeh. Here, my friends, here is where we prepare our table. The same way we have a 10-year plan, the same way we take money and we invest it because we want to have money. If you know your kid's getting married or bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah or whatever, you have a bris coming up, so you save money. You save money and you sacrifice, because that means I can't maybe go on another vacation this year. I got to save another 10, 20 grand for a party coming up. And I'm making a sacrifice today because I have a party coming up tomorrow. Yeah? That's true as well in a much bigger example of this world. If I know that I'm here for the next world, I got to prepare for the next world. And some people are very smart that they know I got to put away a little bit from here to save for there. Just like I have to stop, I can't always enjoy every second because I have a party coming up. I got to save money for the party, and I willingly stay away from, enjoying every single part of the summer because I know I have. So I also have to think like that in this world terms. And that's what Shlomo HaMelech writes. The pasuk, let's read it one more time. Mehoref atzel lo yaharosh. The atzel doesn't prepare in the winter. The lazy guy doesn't do what he needs to do in the winter. And therefore, sho'el bakatzir ve'ayin. When he looks in the harvest, there's nothing there. Ha'atzel explains over here, eno mishtadil b'ma she'itzarech be'oto zman. He doesn't work in the winter when he's supposed to work. And therefore, and again, you see him talking about a field. Literally, you can learn so much from a farmer and the laziness, right? Right? Shehu yoshev batel b'choref. He's sitting idle in the winter, which is the time of plowing. That's when you have to work. And this world, Olam Hazeh, is like the winter. Shehuzman mamshelet levana, which is actually the time of the moon. Yes, and he's going over here a little bit deep. This world is the dominion of the moon. The Olam Haba, the next world, is the Ikar, is Mimshilo Lakaitz. That's the summer. That's the sun. This world is winter, moon. Next world is sun. And everyone knows, he's going over here again deep, that the sun and the moon is an example of this world and the next. And the sun is what gives the light. The sun is the primary force. The next world is the primary world. And therefore, Shira Shirim, he also compares this world to Choref, to winter. Ki hineha setav avar. The fall is over, and now it's winter. This world is winter. And not only that, we find another comparison. Olam hazeh domeh erev Shabbat. This world is like Friday. Olam haba domeh Shabbat. And the next world is like Saturday. This world is like Friday. What does that mean? It's like Friday. It means that you got to prepare. You got to prepare on Friday. Mi shetarach be'erev Shabbat yochal b'Shabbat. If you prepare Friday, then you'll have what to eat on Saturday. But if you don't prepare Friday, if Friday a person's going to go and you come home Friday night, you didn't prepare, you were on vacation, you just got home, or you just decided to enjoy the whole day at the beach, that's fine. But now Friday night comes, what are you going to eat? You can't cook on Shabbat. You can't prepare on Shabbat. It's too late. Whatever you had on Friday, you can eat now. Yeah? And therefore, this world is Friday. This world, we got to prepare. We got to prepare in this world. We got to prepare. Because if not, if we don't prepare, you're going to get to the next world and we're going to have our table. It's going to be empty. We're going to look around. 1 second, where's the food? And it's too late to get food. You got to get the food on Friday. You got to get the food in this world. Keshem sheyom Shabbat, just like Shabbat is a day of rest, not a day of working. So too Olam Haba is a day of rest, not a day of working. This world is the world of working. And therefore, if a person didn't prepare, where is he going to eat from? Okay, and therefore, that's our pasuk today. A choref, in the winter, the lazy man is idle. And therefore, sho'el bakatzir, when he comes in the harvest, when he comes in the spring, ayin, Where's the food? Where am I going to eat from? The lazy guy didn't prepare in this world. In Yanom pahad fine. Ve'ain. Umasha amar mechoref. And now he's going over here even stronger. Look at this, my friends. Look at this. The pasuk says again, in the winter, the lazy man doesn't plow. How do you say in Hebrew? Anyone know? How do you say in Hebrew? Be. How do you say in the winter? Bahorif. That's not what it says though. It doesn't say bahorif in the winter. What does it say? Mehorif. From the winter. Okay, so what is Shlomo HaMelech telling us over here? Something a little bit deeper. It's not just saying in the winter. He's saying mehorif. From the winter. Mepenei pahad ahorif. What that means is that the lazy guy fails to plow, not only in the winter, but mehorif, because of the winter. What does that mean, because of the winter? Because he's afraid of the cold. Because this is a lazy person. I mean, he's telling us something very deep. And again, Ramchal in Mesilat Yesharim says the same exact thing. That the lazy guy will always rationalize, will always excuse his behavior. If a person doesn't do something, and it's really laziness, but they will never say that it's laziness. They'll clothe their laziness with fake answers. That's what we call rationalizations. A person, I'll give you an example. A person has an appointment to go to the dentist. They got to go to the dentist. They made an appointment and they got to wake up now at 6 a.m. 6 a.m., the alarm clock rings, and you're twisting and turning in bed. And you're like, oh no, right? And then you start rationalizing. Do I really need a dentist? I think I could push it off a week. Maybe I'll do it next month. Let me get 10 more minutes of sleep, right? What's the real answer? Are you pushing it off because you don't need a dentist? Or are you pushing it off because of laziness, right? Well, how about this? How about a person that's dating and finding a hard time? And deep down, they know why they're having a hard time. Deep down, they know maybe it's because I'm doing something wrong. But it's hard to change that. It's hard to overcome that. It's hard to grow through that. So what does this person say? The person may say a fake excuse. Say, you know what? You know why I'm not working on it? On principle. Because the girl should love me for who I am. Is that a real reason? Or is that your laziness that you just don't want to work on yourself? Is that just, what's the real reason? Sometimes the atzel, the lazy guy, could give 1,000,001 excuses of why he's lazy. No, I'm not lazy to go to shul, but my doctor said I need a lot of sleep so that I could maximize my day. That's why I wake up late. Right? Is that the real reason? Or is that your laziness? And by the way, the smarter you are, the better your excuses become. People that are very smart, very hard to convince them to change, because the smarter you are, the better your excuses are. And this person becomes delusional. They fall into a denial where they think that the excuses that they're giving are real answers as to why they're behaving the way they're behaving. Such a sad thing to sometimes see people that can destroy their life, but they can explain with every excuse possible why what they're doing is the right thing for them to do. A person who doesn't want to quit smoking or drugs. Rabbi Twersky says that he once had a patient that said, "Doctor, never once did I ever take a drug without first being able to convince myself that this was the right decision and the best thing for me at this point of time." Yeah? So we're very good at being able to give these excuses. And that's exactly all they are excuses. And therefore, the lazy guy, it's not just bechoref, not just lazy in the winter, but he's lazy because of the winter. Amar atzel shahal baderech. The lazy guy says, you know why I can't go? I can't go. There's a class. Go listen to a class. Parenting class. Shalom Bayit class. We don't want to go. Why does the guy not want to go? They don't want to go. Really, they don't want to go because of laziness. But they don't want to say that. So they give 1,000,000 excuses of why they don't need to go. No, that rabbi is not my type. It's going to hurt me if I listen to him. It'll only destroy my marriage. Or there's no parking, or it's cold. I could get sick if I go outside, or someone else may need the car. I don't want to be selfish. all of a sudden the guy is so considerate that he doesn't want to take the car and save it for somebody, right? This is all excuses. All excuses. And therefore, Shlomo HaMelech is talking very, very strongly against laziness. Kedei leham'isa, because he wants it to become disgusting in our eyes, so that we stay away from it. V'sheyitkarvu el midat hazrizut, so that we can incorporate the trait of zrizut, alacrity. Very important in life to get over our laziness. Yeah? Time, my friends, and we could talk for months. Okay, I'm doing Tuesday nights, doing with a gentleman's class on Mesilai Sharim, and we've spent already months just on this one trait of laziness. So much to talk about. So much to talk about. How the most dangerous thing between me and my dreams is time. If there's something that I believe that I should be doing, I got to jump right in. Don't let time, because time could only stall, time could only delay. The more time, the more things could come that'll prevent me from making my dream a reality. If there's someone that you like, that you're going out with, propose right away. Propose right away. Don't delay. Of course, again, there's always reasons and exceptions, and you need to date more to see because you're not sure. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a guy and a girl, they know they're in love and they already have wedding plans. They already start. So why is the wedding a year later? Why is the wedding in 2 years? Don't delay. If you like a girl, if you like her, propose. Let's get a move on it. You got to get moving because today is the best day. Time, God forbid, could only hurt. Time could only ruin. The more time, the more you're giving the Yetzer Hara a chance. Yeah? The worst thing in sports, if a team is up, they try to drain the clock. They try to get rid of the time. Because if there's time, then the other team could catch up. The less time, the better. We have to get moving, whatever our dream is. Don't be lazy. Ushmartem et hamatzot. What does that mean? You should watch the matzah. You should watch the matzah. Don't let matzah become chametz. But the truth is, the pasuk doesn't make sense. Because you don't watch the matzah, you watch the dough. Matzah doesn't become chametz, dough becomes chametz. It should have said you should watch the dough. Why does it say you should watch the matzah? Ushmartem et hamatzot. It doesn't make sense. You hear what I'm saying? It should say watch the dough. Therefore, our rabbis say, very good, Nathan, Ushmartem et hamatzot is also alluding to Ushmartem et hamitzvot. You should watch the mitzvah the same way you watch matzah. And I don't know if you ever went to a matzah bakery, but the way they knead the dough and they're moving and they're fast and then second, let's go, everybody, keep moving, right? Because what's the only difference between matzah and chametz? Same exact ingredients. The only difference is time. The difference between somebody who's matzah and someone who's chametz, someone who's successful and someone who's not, is time. And if we're going to allow time to get in the way, it'll become chametz. We got to be zariz. We got to go quickly. Because laziness, again, leads to many, many dangerous things. And therefore, look at the ant, says King Solomon. Go learn from the ant. Davar chokhmah b'inyan hazrizut. Ant wastes no time. And she collects all day long what she needs for more than 10 lifetimes, the ant collects. Yeah, she won't live to eat a fraction of what she does. But she moves, she goes, and you can learn from even an ant how to be zariz. So ask yourself, my friends, please ask yourself right now, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to accomplish? Whatever you want to achieve, got to do it now. Now, again, what I'm telling you, obviously a person could take and could corrupt it and use it the wrong way. Yeah? There was a boss that he put a sign in his office. Today is the best day to make your dream a reality. Do it today. Whatever you want to do it today. He put a sign, whatever the line was, in his office. And of course, that day, one of his employees took off with all the money in the safe. Right? You said today. So obviously, I'm talking about a dream that's worthwhile. I'm talking about something that's worth pursuing. Then, yes, today is the best day. Obviously, with averot, the opposite should be used. When it comes to sinning, yes, that's where we should procrastinate. If the Yetzer Hara comes and says in your head, do the wrong thing, that's what we should say. You know what? Come back tomorrow. You know what? Come back later. Just come back. Let me alone now. I'll do it in a half hour. Yes, laziness should be used for the sins of life, for the wrong things of life. But for the right things, zariz. Right? we should be zaris. And therefore, this is, I think, very powerful, Rabbeinu Bachya. Okay? Okay, there's a little bit more, but I think we've spoken about a lot today and a lot to think about to chew on. May Hashem bless us and help us to be able to conquer this trait of zerizut, of alacrity, to be able to push through, to not give excuses for our laziness, to be able to understand that the only day, the best day for me to become great is today. Whatever it is that I want to achieve, today is the best day to make that happen. Okay, everybody, we'll stop over here. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.